The DOJ says Trump's request for a special master is unnecessary because they've already reviewed the documents from Mar-a-Lago. Republicans, though, are demanding transparency on the raid. Here to talk about it is Jason Chaffetz, former Utah congressman and Fox News contributor. Jason, good to see you. Listen, I want to get your take on this story because as a member of Congress, I go, this is ripe for oversight from your old committee, the Oversight Committee. What say you?
Yeah, look, the time for a special master would have been before this all happened. And I look at that picture, if they put it back up on the screen, look out on the far right. That's a picture of Donald Trump on the cover of Time magazine. Yeah, right. They've got it in a box. And then they scatter them on the floor and take pictures of it. That doesn't garner any confidence that there's not a political agenda. You can make your legal case to the judge, which is the document that they're supposedly putting together, without showing a photograph. They did the photograph for public relations to damage Donald Trump. There is no other purpose for that. It is not a legal purpose in order to convince a judge that they are opposed to a special master.
Yeah, this is just more politics coming from the Department of Justice. We've seen that for 5, 6 years, ever since Donald Trump came down the escalator. But I would think that in regard to a special master, which is, and I just mentioned this, with Louis Gohmert, our old colleague, it's about saying what documents are Donald Trump's, what are privileged documents, attorney-client privilege, executive privilege. And I would think the Department of Justice, if they want goodwill with the American people, would say, of course we'll have a special master. If that's what you want, that's what we'll do, Mr. President.
I think from the get-go, they needed to have somebody who had some degree of separation. But here you have a guy who is the foremost, he's leading the Republican Party, probably going to, maybe running for president of the United States. Yeah. How do you do that against him and then throw out photographs? That photograph just proves, I think, yet again, the political agenda is there. That is not Lady Justice with a blindfold executing, the law as they see fit. And you know what? The double standard, the way they dealt with the Clintons, the way they're dealing with Hunter Biden, the way they dealt with us at the IRS when we were going after the IRS to say, hey, you're doing political targeting. They never treated them like that.
But they want to litigate it in the press. They want to put the picture out and say, oh, see, we had documents that said classified, and therefore, oh, Donald Trump must be bad. America, you don't want him to be your president again. But again, I do think there's a role for Congress. Unless the Congress actually steps in and does substantial oversight at the Department of Justice and the FBI, this is not going to change. Do you think that if Republicans take control, they have the chops to do the investigation, to get to the root causes of the partisanship at the Department of Justice?
I hope so. The roadblock that we ran into in the Obama administration, I could issue subpoenas. I issued a number of subpoenas. Trey Gowdy issued a number of subpoenas. Yes. But the subpoena is only as good as its willingness to be enforced. And so we issued subpoenas on these types of things, and the Obama administration would not enforce them. But boy, they do it record time when it's Biden going against Trump. So I would hope so, but they have to come with chops, not only from Congress, but from the administration in a cooperative way.
Well, so when I did oversight for financial services, I was a subcommittee chair. We had a small subsection of what you did, but I would get documents that were just news clippings, that would be press releases that weren't responsive to my requests. But here's what they'll pay attention to is money. If they don't comply with the request from Congress, Congress controls the purse strings, and if we in the Congress, our former colleagues, withhold money from the Department of Justice or the FBI until compliance comes, I guarantee you they're going to comply.
That is supposed to be the way it works. The power of the purse is supposed to be compelling in order to produce those types of documents, but I haven't seen it yet. I mean, yeah.
I think Kevin McCarthy gets it.
But you know what the warning is? The thing I worry about is suddenly whistleblowers are coming forward, and within days, then the Department of Justice is saying, hey, you can't talk to Congress. We're keeping an eye on you. That is, I think, very ominous in how they did that.
Well, right. They're trying to tamp down whistleblowers, but all the while, I mentioned this previously as well, they want to allow all of these leaks to come out from the FBI and the DOJ, but also say we're above reproach. We're noble. We're doing the good work for the American people. Right. But they're the worst leakers in Washington, D.C.
There's 1,000 pages from the Inspector General, Michael Horowitz, talking about these leaks. In fact, there was one person within the FBI, they recommended that there be some sort of disciplinary action or potentially criminal, and they did nothing. Of course they're not going to.
They don't identify any of them. No one's identified as a leaker because they know who the leakers are. They just don't want to identify them for us. It's all part of a larger plan. But I want to switch gears with you. Let's go to the southern border and the crisis. So, Jason, Biden's own Border Patrol chief is sounding the alarm over the crisis. Here's what he had to say.
So if migrant populations believe that there are not going to be consequences, more of them will come to the border. Is that what you're saying?
There's an assumption that if migrant populations are told that there's a potential that they may be released, that yes, you can see increases.
So this is what we all know. If you tell people there's no consequence for coming to our border, more people are going to come, right?
Hats off to Chief Ortiz. Not only does he have one of the most difficult jobs on the planet, but he's not able to actually do his job. And you know, I complain about it, you complain about it, others complain about it. But what really bothers me is like people like Brandon Judd, who is the president of the Border Patrol Council. They won't talk to those people, the actual Border Patrol agents on the ground that are supposed to be protecting this country. They can't do their job. So asked an obvious question, he gave a direct answer. There is no consequence for those people that are trying to cross the border.
Well, you know, you also want, Border Patrol, if you're an employee, you want to keep the country safe. You want to keep bad people out. And if you're just stuck processing tens of thousands of people, you can't do your job of securing the border. But I want to move to this, too, because this comes on the heels of the White House flat out denying the problem even exists. Take a listen.
Somebody unvaccinated comes over on a plane. You say that's not okay. Somebody walks into Texas or Arizona unvaccinated. They're allowed to stay. Why?
But that's not how it works. But it's not like somebody walks over and that's not how.
Exactly what's happening. Thousands of people are walking in a day. Some of them turn themselves over. Some of them are caught. Tens of thousands a week are not. That is what is happening.
Jason, I mean, to say that that's not happening every single day, tens of thousands of people come across the border. It's like, no, that's actually not what's happening. Where does she get off lying to the American people?
It's a flat out lie because there's video after video. Every statistic out there is at record high. They are literally walking across the border. And look, this is what happens when Joe Biden never visited the border in his 50 years. You have Kamala Harris, who refuses to take some responsibility. And then the White House spokesperson says it's not happening. And then there's no follow-up question. Hats off to Peter Doocy, but where are the rest of the reporters actually reporting the story? No intellectual curiosity, and it's wrong.
And I think the curiosity also goes to what impact does this have on low-income workers? What impact does this have on our schools, our hospitals, impact on crime? But I think the biggest story is the amount of fentanyl coming across the southern border, the number of Americans who are dying because of fentanyl that comes from the cartels, but the chemicals are coming from China. They're subsidizing the death of American people. And Joe Biden doesn't seem to care.
No, his only complaint yesterday is that there were guns from the north going south. That's what he thought the Mexicans were concerned about. He didn't talk about what Americans should be concerned about: drug trafficking, human trafficking, the deaths that are happening of these people coming north because they believe we're going to just open the doors and let everybody in. And that's what's happening.
It's exactly what's happening. Jason Chaffetz, always smart. Thanks for joining me. And in person, too.
Yes, always better in person.